Just because you can't see where you're going doesn't mean you're headed the wrong way. We've got Layla and the Angel Rasbar. I thought this was a pretty interesting combination because I wanted to see, after that last reading, we were talking about, are you headed towards a future in the rear view or a proverbial sunset? And I wanted to know more about the proverbial sunset, and these cards came out. And it's giving me individuation for sure, and gnosis. And I like the color scheme. So it's giving that like upper and lower world kind of vibe. Because the Layla card talks about the darkness, like the annihilation of self. That's very much individuation process because that's much more intense than a dark night of the soul. Like the dark night of the soul is part of that process. So this is the next level. And gnosis, I mean, that could be, an experience with the divine is what it's generally referring to. But if you're looking at things through a more secular lens, it could be reestablishing that feeling of awe in the world. Maybe going out into nature and seeing a big canyon or climbing a mountain, any of that vastness that is almost incomprehensible. And that is very relatable to gnosis as well. Because my experience with the divine was a very integral part of my individuation process. But the thing I'm really curious about is this persistent issue with somebody's individual expression. It's like not wanting you to realize the authentic self, that Aquarian expression. So I wanted to dig into that a little bit more because it just keeps coming up. Like, what is the deal? So why is somebody so pressed about you individuating? And I was also looking at this dice roll. Neptune, 11th house, and Taurus. And the vibe I'm getting from that is like an illusion being cast over a community. Very relative term. But regarding Venusian concerns, material things, comfort, luxury, money, food. So I don't know, something about your individual expression, your individuation is like cutting through illusions. And we have veiled here in reverse. I think that supports that quite well. A very dark card, a very dark purple. I like it. So your individual expression cuts through illusions. Illusions regarding Venusian concerns. In community, that could be like as small as a friend group, a family system, could be even larger than that. So what's the tea here on not wanting you or a community to see through illusions? Because I feel like that connection with self, the authentic self, that really helped me break apart a lot of conditioning that was woven into my psyche, into my values, into my principles through things like propaganda. Because the United States is a propaganda machine. And there's a lot of things that I used to earnestly believe in that I just don't anymore. Because I'm seeing how much of it just comprises of words that if you're not a straight white male property owner, then you're in for kind of a rough life here. And it's like this veil is trying to be maintained that no, the system, like it's good for everyone. No, it's not. It's bad for most of us. For the majority, I mean, everybody's paying in, but the few are getting benefits. Dust it off. Dusting off a plant. Do plants need dusting? I guess, if they're inside and not outside with moving air. Wanting you to brush past what you see. It's like something, a trait frequently criticized in me is like macro level thinking, pattern recognition. It's like wanting you to deny what you're seeing. And if someone is taking issue with what you're seeing, what you're identifying as a problem, why? Just consider the why behind the behavior. Do they benefit from not correcting what you're bringing to their attention? Probably. Or are they just lazy and don't want to deal with it? Could be that too. Drama starter, stirs the pot, always in the middle, loves the chaos, and this was in reverse. That's giving me, like, if you've ever been in an argument with somebody and you're clearly in the right, you have the valid points, and then it changes to, oh, well, I just don't want to fight anymore because I'm winning. Right as that clock chimes. So little manipulative techniques like that, trying to bail out of the argument once they realize they're not going to win. We've got love triangle, third party involved, torn between two, multiple lovers, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Jock blocking? It rhymes. But it was in reverse. Someone doesn't want you to see through an illusion because it's like, what, an affair will get exposed? Is this like an office affair? Something? Like, dust it off. Don't want to fight. Because then if anything gets further looked into, the love triangle will be seen. Tell me more about this love triangle. And that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic arrangement. This could be like shady business deals, something like that. Like working with people that you're not supposed to be working with. I don't know. Leaking secrets, something proprietary, over to a competitor with like plans to go work for them or something. Three of Pentacles. Might be onto something. A group. And Six of Cups. Nostalgia, soulmate. A group working together. And then the soulmate card. Starting to feel a little culty, for sure. Like, lines are blurred between what the F is going on here. It's like business got mixed with pleasure, and then all sorts of things started happening. This feels like a mess behind the scenes, but there's something about your individuation process that allows this illusion to be seen. Queen of Swords and King of Swords. Oh, so a pairing. They have their little rainbow swords. Could be LGBT, maybe? It just feels like a hard left. Oh, is somebody on the DL? And that, man, when people have to be on the DL, it can be a really tough situation, and it can really fester into a lot of expressions of anger, and there's just so many horror stories of being involved with somebody who's DL. Because all that repression, suppression, it does come out, and in unhealthy ways a lot of the times. Like, it's almost like I want to be happy for it, because it's like people working to get soulmates together. But something's weird. And interesting. I'm looking at the King and Queen of Swords. She's got butterflies on hers. Like, she's got actual butterflies flying around her, and then birds on the pattern of her cloak. And the King of Swords has the butterflies as a pattern on the throne, with birds flying around. It's like the King of Swords is the more detached one, because the Queen of Swords is carrying the symbolism of him with her all the time that she's wearing the cloak. And he does have a little butterfly brooch, but it's not, it's like different levels of investment. It's starting to kind of take a turn, like more of that rejection energy that I've seen, that somebody's just not interested in the other person. And I don't know if they're too vain to conceptualize that, like, you're not entitled to this other person's attention. Like, they seem like maybe they'd be a match on paper or something, but maybe it's the actual compatibility that isn't there. But there's a whole group trying to bring them together, seemingly. That would be against the Queen of Swords' will. So what's the deal with this King of Swords? There's something about the individuation process. There's something about the individual expression that, I don't know, does it unravel this master plan to get somebody into a relationship they don't want to be in? Good. It should be unraveled. This is weird. This is a weird vibe. Snake. Transmute, but it's in reverse. So not wanting you to heal something. Or maybe the King of Swords is who hasn't healed something. And with the card in reverse, it's like the snake is descending. Maybe the King of Swords hasn't gone through their own individuation process that in the description of this card, when they're talking about annihilation, it makes me think of the confrontation with the shadow, which that's what set apart for me that I was experiencing individuation versus a dark night of the soul, because it felt like many dark nights of the soul in a row, and I was kind of caught between like the first two stages, the blackening and the whitening, just cycling between those, and it took a lot to get a foothold into the yellowing. So what about this transmute? Or not transmute? What hasn't been transmuted? And that fell right on the King of Swords. Bankrupt? So they haven't resolved some money stuff? And that could be literally, figuratively, or both. Oh, and it looks like they're lying on the floor like with a can in their hand. And I'm not one to... what word am I looking for? Look down on somebody lamenting their woes, like however they do. Eventually you're going to have to pick yourself up and dust yourself off, and it's going to be before you feel ready to do it. It's a sucky part about it. And especially when systemic problems get put in the personal responsibility bucket. It's a tough position that a lot of us are in. And I don't know, I feel like it's worth it to at least try to resolve things with an employer, you know, because they are asking you to do a job in a specific city, but then they're not paying you the cost of living in that city that they want the job done in. That's a real valid question for negotiation when it comes to salary. Because they're transferring the burden unto you, because you still have to figure out a way to supplement their employment. They want you employed full-time, but they're not providing you with a full-time salary. It's got to meet the actual cost of living, your needs and things like that, because they expect you to not only meet their needs, but to go above and beyond. Which, if that's the expectation, it's not above and beyond. That's just the expectation. And that can get kind of heated. Because it can feel very, like serfdom. To sit there and look at somebody else, like, how can you decide with absolute power that I don't deserve to earn the cost of living in the city you want this job done in? Because say you get fed up and you quit or something, right? They're just going to pay somebody else the not cost of living. They're just determined on keeping people down. And that, like, the problem doesn't get fixed if you just leave. That's why I'm kind of a proponent of filing reports and things like that, because they have whole departments to address what's going on. And they treat that as if it's an equal thing when you're at the negotiating table. It's not. An individual versus an organization is absolutely not an equal thing. And it is their job to take care of their people because they expect you to take care of them. It's like right there, plain as day, in probably in the employee handbook and whatever evaluations you've had. They'll say things like, are you performing above and beyond? I'm not even receiving the cost of living for salary, and you expect me to jump that high? Come on now. Not even treating us like people. So maybe there's a lot around that. Not only the monetary issues themselves, which are stressful enough, but all the like emotional stuff around it. And this did a topsy-turvy. This was reverse in the deck, but now it's upright when it hit the table. Dirt digging. Snooping for secrets, trying to expose you. Tables might turn. Digging for dirt on who? The King of Swords is digging for dirt on somebody? What, to get out of their love triangle and to get out of bankruptcy? They're just trying to blame somebody else? Maybe. Anything but accountability. Goodness gracious. So what? Digging dirt on who? Hoopst. They can redirect attention to somebody else, then they don't actually have to transmute what they're dealing with. Oh, maybe this has something to do with the illusion from the dice roll. Neptune, 11th house, and Taurus. So what's this dirt digging about? Travel? Digging dirt on where you've been? What does that matter? Maybe where you've been, what you're doing, how you're spending your money. What, again, like, what does that have to do with anything? That proof, like, haha, they spend money on Amazon. Like, yeah. In my case, like, I have to be seizure free for 3 months before I can drive. I spend a lot on delivery. What's the problem? And it's like, mind your nose. Mind where it ends up, or it's going to get bit. So what about this travel? I want a little more on that. This is where the illusion is. I think. Getting that like throat tightness. In their head, no facts. Can't find anything. It's like trying to scapegoat somebody and like, no, we're sure that they're a terrible person because reasons. In their head, making assumptions, creating stories, trust issues showing, and no facts. All vibes, no receipts, talking nonsense, messy storyteller. They are full of hot air. Just trying to blame shift. Trying to, no, but it's them, no, but them. Well, but. Like, well, what about you? What about this love triangle and this bankruptcy? You know, maybe they have a kid or something and they haven't been paying child support, but they're spending money on their affairs, going on dates, things like that. But somehow they want to shift the blame over to you. I don't even see how that's a connection. Like, what? But first, tell me about this no facts. What's going on here? No facts, all vibes. The Hermit? Maybe you're an introverty introvert like me, and they're using the space, the unknown, to create stories, messy stories that maybe they're really outlandish. Maybe they're a projection. They're, what's that phrase? Every accusation is a confession? Something like that. Six of Pentacles and Knight of Wands. So Six of Pentacles, that's the equal give and take card. But in the Rider-Waite, there's the two beggars on the ground, or near the ground. They're lower than the person with the coins and the scale. And one of them has a red ticket in their pocket. And that was a signal of affluence. They're like theater tickets. And that is the person that coin is being put into their hand. And so it can also be a card of corruption, that you have the beggar, the person who's actually in need, who's being looked away from, but the person with the red ticket, they're getting money. I think that's right. Do I have my little book here? Is that who's getting it? Now I want to see. Oh no, it is the beggar. So in reverse, it would be the person with the red ticket getting the monies. That would be corruption. But this is an illusion. Like, you're seeing past an illusion. So even though there's a lot of things in the upright, it's like the vibe is in reverse. And the Knight of Wands, that's another illusion too. They're on a merry-go-round. It gives the illusion of progress, the illusion of movement. Is the illusion they're casting keeping this hermit in hermit mode? And that it's the same theme that's been coming up. Somebody's path is being blocked. It's like it's on a loop. Maybe this is what Saturn retrograde is needed for, to break this loop. And with the hermit, it's like people just do not know how to stay in their own lane. It's like you are taking somebody minding their own business, somebody staying, they actually know how to stay in their own lane, and turning it into something bad. What? Because you're not entitled to their life, so you gotta be weird about it? Gotta be weird and controlling? There is absolutely no entitlement to another person's life, even if they seem like they're a match. This is like somebody... Oh, maybe that's what the Six of Cups was about. This is somebody who is like latched on to this idea of twin flames. This, well, we are meant to be together because I read a forum on the internet that told me about twin flames. What? What about free will? And I am more like the red string of fate is more my philosophy of things. And I'm very much not into the preordained, you decided how your life was going to go before you incarnated. No. I look at it like your soul, you have lessons to learn that are on your own individual path, and your incarnation lottery is what it is. You learn those lessons within that incarnation, or you don't. And it can take a lot of forms. It doesn't necessarily have to be you learn about abandonment and betrayal with a romantic partner. That could take a lot of forms. You might not even be learning about love through a romantic partner. It could be platonic love that is the lesson. Who knows? But people get really latched on to Like, that person, that individual, they're mine. People don't belong to people. You don't own people. Nobody owns people. It's weird. So what? I kind of want to know more about this illusion. What is the illusion itself? What is the veil? What's the... There is no spoon. What is the spoon? Truth? The illusion is truth? That's not great. It's Mayette's feather. 25. 7. Lucky number 7. I mean, the individuation process, that'll help you see the truth. You'll see which side of the scale is heavier, the heart or the feather. But is this like a trusted individual doing this? Because in order to be a successful, messy storyteller, they have to hold a degree of trust. In order for any of this to take root, they have to be able to manipulate the perception in some way. And gaslighting is a real mind F. It does have some prerequisites, though. There's a random person at a bus stop that's telling you the sky is purple polka dot. They can't convince you of that because they have no power or authority over you. So gaslighting, somebody needs to have some form of power, background information on you, time for gaslighting to take hold. It's a really involved process. And maybe they have that influence over an entire community. So what about this truth? And I did mention propaganda, you know, that individuation is an antidote to that. Because it's hard to pull the wool over your eyes when you are connected to the authentic self. Because then you just know. And you're not willing to tolerate the attempts at people trying to gaslight you. Screenshot in reverse. Content 4K, saving receipts, facts over feelings. This is giving me AI. Like false screenshots. The illusion. It did say making up stories. Messy storyteller, too. So somebody... Does that have something to do with the love triangle? Is somebody created like a fake profile or something? What, to cover up their bankruptcy? This is weird. Shine. Radiate with truth. Your light triggers darkness. Stay unapologetically you. This is your individuation, your individual shine. And there's a cross there. I mentioned Gnosis was a integral part of my individuation process, so maybe it was part of yours as well. Because rock bottom is a big part of individuation. And many people find faith at rock bottom, whether it's for the first time or reinvigoration. So what? They have a problem with your faith practice? Cool, have a problem with it. First Amendment. I don't care. Like, why would I even have a moment of care for that? unless that person is like making me unsafe in some way, which is a very real possibility. And I've noticed in the tarot community, there are still a lot of people that use the word witch as like a default derogatory term. Rude, if I might add. Don't appreciate that. And a real, I think, test of if somebody, like a litmus test, if somebody is truly accepting, non-judgmental, whatnot, if you are of a label or what have you, like witch or whatever, that they don't approve of, they don't like, do they treat you differently? Do they reconsider the language that they're using? I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a lost art of being at an understanding that you don't have to believe or think the same way to coexist in the same room, because what if this is like a work thing? They could be causing real problems for themselves, like discrimination. But we all have to work, like most of us, the overwhelming majority of us. It's like, do they not understand? I'm not there by choice, I'm there by coercion. Maybe they don't. Maybe that requires a degree of self-reflection that somebody doing all this might not possess. So what about shine? Oh, maybe they're trying to cast a shadow over your individuation, however that's gone, whatever stage you're in, through like a smear campaign, through creating a fake profile about you or something. Like, man, loser behavior, get over it. Go do something. Go tend to the bankruptcy that clearly needs addressing. So what about shine? Jackpot in reverse and photo proof. What? Unexpected windfall, right place, right time, big blessings ahead. Photo proof, caught in the act, evidence saved, truth in plain sight. So I feel like this could go a couple of ways. Either, if they can successfully, I don't know, create a false campaign about you, then you don't get some kind of windfall, something like that. I'm a little dry in the sinuses, but I don't know, is this like a legal thing that if they can create a perception about you, then they'll win? And do they not think metadata and such are gonna be checked? Especially if it's a legal thing? Maybe no. Maybe they were expecting people to just take them at their word, which for a time that might work. And that can create a lot of reputational damage. Like that'd be when you notice kind of behavior around you just changing in strange ways, like people talking to you less, acting weird, suddenly maybe even being a little more formal. It's like when you know you're being talked about in rooms you're not in. I mean, if you're going to talk about me, why not invite me to the conversation? Hmm. Oh, because the truth is an illusion. There's very false things being said, and if you ever got wind of them, it'd be immediately an issue. So dry. So what about photo proof? And this could also be proof of them doing this. So like the metadata or something. The Lovers, the Magician in reverse, and Page of Swords in reverse. Okay. What the F is this person's problem? So the Lovers, that's that fake relationship. Like, that's what I'm getting. Because that was a really weird vibe to zone in on. And the Magician in reverse, that's like my ultimate manipulator. The King or Queen of Swords in reverse, it's like a malignant, covert narcissist for me. The Magician in reverse, that might even be like a psychopath, sociopath. And Page of Swords in reverse, that's the spy card. Somebody really trying to get information through a fake relationship? Are they trying to make this real? Like, after all this, which I suspect you're not completely in the dark about, like, there's something going on, but then it's again somebody coming out of the woodwork, like confessing their feelings, and it's a farce. And I feel like this energy is just on a loop. Why? How is this being permitted to go on so long? I get so irritated with the idea of divine timing. It's not divine to let people suffer. Suffering is not noble. It's how people get trauma. So why isn't this loop breaking? What's the obstruction? Why isn't this coming to an end? A lot of sirens. Soulmate in reverse? It's not coming to an end because you're not soulmates? That should be what brings it to an end. I don't understand. But this image, it's symmetrical, whether it's upright or reverse. So it's more illusion. It's like from the outside looking in, maybe that's AI, thanks to AI. Other people can't tell what King of Swords is saying isn't true because Queen of Swords is not in rooms this is being said in. That's a really important part of manipulation, is maintaining those walls, those delineations. But the thing that I'm getting upset about is how it's holding somebody prisoner. It's holding somebody back. And because somebody else doesn't want to take accountability for their stuff, cool. Somebody apply accountability to them already. Like, what is the deal? What is the problem? Because I mean, are we going to hold our breath until the end of time and wait for them to grow a conscience? This is just more evidence of how these larger systems are used as strong arms to abuse the vulnerable, to keep people in place, to cast illusions. and make sure they stay there. Because none of this would be possible without a community. The Three of Pentacles. Enablers. Flying monkeys. People that just look the other way. That don't do their job. So what about soulmate? It's like, how long are you going to waste somebody else's life to let somebody stomp their feet, have a tantrum about it, who had how many chances to not only do the right thing, but just not do this? I don't know why people are so okay with women being collateral damage to emotionally immature men that don't know how to regulate themselves. So they expect us to do it, and it gets reinforced by systems of power and control because they don't step in when they know something's going on. But they still take our tax dollars at the same rate. There's no discount because I'm not getting what I need. And how many others are in that position? So what about this soulmate? It's just making me think of, like, who's the grown-up here? Like, come on. Caught a case? Sexual infection? Sexual disease? Rash? And it came out sideways. Oh. Is somebody trying to blame, like, an STD on someone else? What if they don't even have it? That, it's like, you really didn't think this through, did we? Maybe, again, back to the vanity point. Maybe this person thought they were so vain, or they are so vain, that they thought they could just start this rumor and then make it so. Which, isn't that like some kind of conspiracy to plan to give somebody something? Because maybe they're trying to say that they caught something from somebody else to try and get a payout for that. I've heard all sorts of stories of horror stories of that nature. This person sounds really malicious. And are people just sitting by and watching this happen? Like, goodness gracious, how many sadists are involved in this? Like, you do know that people are getting hurt, right? Like, people, human beings, which is what women are. Why do we have to keep going over this? Because that, I think that would fall under, I don't know if it would be like reproductive coercion. So I think that's usually like baby trapping. But it's like a form of it. But the way that whomever the Queen of Swords is getting painted, man, this could result in like HIPAA violations. Getting their medical records when there was no grounds for it. Like, because this person's just lying. They're just using AI. And who was it? Claude? Whichever is Anthropic's AI agent. Another one that got out of its sandbox and hacked 3 companies. This is accelerating at a concerning rate. And I see calls for like better guardrails on AI. Do they even know how? Like, it got out. It got out of containment. Like, do they know how? That's, I think, a question we need answered, like, now. So what about this caught a case? Because this seems really malicious, like an escalation. Things aren't working. Person is off their rocker. Just taking the bottom one. Unfazed. Doesn't care, didn't flinch, you can't shake me. Well, it's not working, thankfully. That I'm glad to hear. Again, maybe this is someone you're just not attracted to. So you're not even in situations where something could happen. And the way this person is acting, I also wouldn't be taking any drinks or anything from them. Just saying. Somebody who's this desperate to avoid the consequences of their own actions, I don't know. I wouldn't even go near them. But it did come out reversed. So maybe they are very fazed by this. And you could be unfazed and becoming phased when you find out the depths of depravity. Because this would be pretty intense, actually. That someone was trying to block your forward movement, trying to do something that was lifelong harmful to avoid their problems. Deal with your own problems. And what? Because they don't like how you express yourself, how you live your life? Cool. Stop talking to this person. Leave them alone. That has always been an option. You can just leave them alone. And if it's where you have to interact, like a co-parenting or work or something, just be cordial. You don't have to attack them, make them this target. So what about unfazed? And all to get information on someone. Maybe to create that information. Like, see, look. But wouldn't that even get found out in like an investigation? That somebody didn't have whatever they're trying to give them the whole time? Like, that timeline would be fleshed out. Moves in silence? Maybe there is an investigation. Hopefully. Goodness gracious, what is going on? Where are all the adults? Why aren't they stepping in? Maybe more time is needed? I don't know. Which bothers me to no end. It bothers me that we have to allow harm to occur even though we can see it occurring. Like, make sure they're being hurt enough that it counts. It counts. We do not have a trauma-informed system at all. Everything, like the way that the system handles things, is not only traumatizing but re-traumatizing. You're guaranteeing when you engage with them that re-traumatization is part of the process. And it's because of how they conduct themselves. There are better solutions, but effort has to be put into real change, into meaningful change, and I just don't see it happening. I see people outside of the system doing that, like the SVU lady, that she ran that campaign to get untested SA kits, like the backlog sorted out, caught up on. That should be coming from our tax dollars. Happiness hater. But it was in reverse. Maybe that is what is being revealed about you or the Queen of Swords? That you're not a happiness hater? Maybe that you're not even paying attention to this person. Because the silhouette, it's like a couple in the background and then one person, but because it's a silhouette and it's all shadowed out, you can't actually see which way they're facing. So, might not even be paying attention. Maybe this person has constructed some sort of, like, oh, they're so jealous, they're this, this, and that, and maybe you don't even know they're with somebody. Unfazed, doesn't care. Lunacy. And that has real consequences on people's lives. So what is going on with this investigation? Moves in silence. Because this needs to move. Judgment and the devil in reverse. Uh-oh. That's not great. Sounds like uh-oh SpaghettiOs. Show these upright too. It's a interesting picture. You got the, looks like rats in a cage, and then the silhouette of the cat. And then this looks like a May Day. Like they're all dancing around with the trumpet and everything, but in reverse, Judgment and the devil, that's a heavy-handed judgment. I'm trying to think of a worse combination than that, and I can't really think of that. That's hopefully, at least from what I'm getting from this, whomever's involved, whoever the adult in the room is being unyielding. Like, they went balls to the wall, found something from the 1800s to charge them with. It's like no stone unturned. Something like that. Because this is a legitimate, like, lunatic. Somebody who's trying to destroy someone else's life because of what they did. And cast illusions over a whole group. And, I mean, how many of the enablers and the flying monkeys were also lied to? It doesn't absolve them of their involvement, but it just, I think, highlights the warpath that this person is on. And that clock started chiming right as I said warpath. So this person's on a warpath against somebody else because of what they did. Or because this person is exposing the illusion. And like I've said before, separation and exposure can be the most dangerous points when it comes to an abusive dynamic. The sun. Everything's going to be seen. For better or for worse, mind you. They're holding a little stuffy. Some comfort might be needed for the terrible things, because even if you haven't had to actively experience this campaign of nonsense, it could be a lot to take in once it's all found out. The lengths that somebody would go to to destroy another person. And I'm real partial to sunflowers, so maybe that's a treat yourself signal. You know, if you're going through something as difficult and crazy as this, really taking care of yourself and not getting caught up in any judgments, you know, about how you spend your money, because it did seem to be a component of this. People or somebody was taking issue with the way you spend your money, but they're bankrupt, like the hypocrisy. And overspending, that can definitely be a crutch when there are uncomfy things going on. It can kind of create a false sense of security, being able to nest like that. That sounds like yard work. Hold on. That's about as quiet as it's gonna get, but we're about done here anyway. I thought they were all done with that yesterday. So things will get illuminated. Be kind to yourself about any coping mechanisms you might reach for as you go through this. A bad day doesn't have to turn into a bad habit. You know, it's all good. Do what you gotta do to take care of you. 7 Nation Army, the White Stripes. There's 7 again, lucky number 7. That's me. So some good music, you know, put on an album. I like to, when I need to decompress and recenter and let my mind process a lot of things, I like to get comfy with a gummy, an album, and like a coloring book or whatever I'm knitting or cross-stitching at the time, and let your mind work through some of that inevitable rumination for something this complicated and weird, and there could be a lot of betrayal wounds and such coming up. You know, not only dealing with the one person at the helm of this, but it's going to be a tough pill to swallow. The people that were around you that might have known what was going on and didn't say anything, or even like playing in your face, playing nice, while buying into this illusion. So it could be a lot to process. Give yourself the space and time that you need, and nobody that was involved in any of this gets to weigh in. No unsolicited opinions. That's what those boundaries are for, to keep those out so you can process how you need to and how this affected you. So overall, I hope this helps. Another that I hope it doesn't resonate, but if it did, I hope you found something helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.